Hello again. Time for a quick sip of coffee and then we're on with it now because we're looking through the newspapers with Emma Woolf and Andrew Eborn. Lovely to see you both.
Lovely to see you.
Let's get stuck in because funnily enough, there's plenty of interesting stuff.
Yes.
Isn't there? Shall we start, Andrew, with Sue Gray?
Well, what a grey day, as they used to say.
It is reported in the Times today, the Sunday Times. Sue Gray to become a peer.
It is extraordinary, and I know that the great audience that we have here at GB News will be totally behind this and say it's nothing to do with her Partygate rewards and stuff like that. What a controversial character. They've talked about her being paid more than Starmer. She turned down the new role, apparently, and she sort of led the narrative on that, but actually there was a bit of haggling going on about the money, and now she's going to be rewarded in this extraordinary way.
Yeah, do you think this is a way to perhaps keep her quiet of all of the disagreements in number 10?
I mean, she was apparently, according to this report, asking for more per day than the Prime Minister.
Yes, she was.
She has not covered herself in glory since being removed from her chief role. This new invented title about head of the trade envoy of the regions, and the envoy, whatever, to the regions and the...
Yes, it was
a nonsense thing.
Yeah,
but now she's clearly being sort of shunted, well, not shunted sideways, but moved somewhere else where she won't be complaining.
But it's a reward.
It is a reward.
But isn't a peerage meant to be an honour? And we're meant to be thanking those who have in some... I mean, I think the honour system anyway is utterly kind of broken.
You're so right.
And corrupt.
I always say trust
really will stick in the craw.
Of course it would. I always say trust comes in on foot and leaves on horseback, and this is yet another example where people are turning around. I think I'm here all week. Get those sound bites ready. But you're right. I don't know anybody who's speaking up. You look at about there's a hemorrhage, if you like, on social media. A big backlash about it. Nobody's saying, oh, well done, she richly deserves it.
And one of the big criticisms, I think, of the honours system is exactly this. It's political appointments, whereas what we perhaps should be celebrating is people of ordinary citizens across the country doing extraordinary things for their community.
I totally
this kind
agree.
of story, I think, upsets people.
It's not quite the same as an honour, though. I mean,
No,
I think an honour has got to be for something over and above.
Yes.
But a peerage, you've got a job to do in the House of Lords, so you should have something obvious to contribute.
But it's just the way, when people leave office, you know that they're going to be given a peerage by their mate, by Boris Johnson, by David Cameron. It's such a corrupt system. That isn't
Boris
the way it should work. We should, whatever the difference, we should be rewarding achievement and service to our country, shouldn't we?
No, and honours go to right people, and I think that works on that sort of basis. There's one sitting right next to my right. The reality, however, is that the optics on this are appalling. Nobody's going to turn around and do this. And she's been clouded in controversy. That transition from the civil service to working as a political, basically, for the Chief of Staff, it's complete nonsense.
But to be fair to Sue Gray, she was a very high-up civil servant. She would have a lot of experience within that. And as you say, she has a job to do, in the House of Lords.
I like the fact that people don't know much about it, that she used to be a publican in Northern Ireland.
Oh.
And there are questions...
Tough stuff.
Exactly.
Let's move on, Emma, to another story, actually, in the Sunday Times again, isn't it?
Absolutely.
About Rishi Sunak ignoring the advice he was getting about when to call the election. Yeah,
so this is advice. This was a very blunt memo that was issued to him in early April by Isaac Levido, who's one of these political supremos, strategist. And he said to Sunak in the memo, he said we should wait till the autumn. Isn't it astonishing, though, to think that we could be having a general election now?
Yes.
So he said wait till October or November. We need two fists to punch Labour with. We need the economy fist and we need the kind of platform, we need a reform fist. We will be in a much better position in the autumn. Sunak apparently had enough of it. He just said, right, that's it, we're going to go, and look what happened. The Tories lost 2/3 of their MPs, the biggest electoral defeat in history, effectively, for the Tories.
It was a surprise, but I always predicted there was always those sort of 5 points that every time Rishi used to talk about, one of which was obviously the economy. And I predicted as soon as they're going to hit, the inflation will be less than half of 11% when he said it. It was an easy one to predict. It was about 2% when he came out and said, we're going to do this on July the 4th. I thought that'll be the moment that he did it, and I sort of said that on this very platform. So I think it is good. It was, I don't know how much more of a crashing defeat it would have been, but actually getting them in early and then winning next time around. I mean, if you held the election today, Starmageddon is not looking too good, is it?
But would we really need the stress of having the US election at pretty much the same time as the UK election?
Of course, and those were going to collide. But really, what was the stress of the US election? We all just watched in amazement as many of us predicted that Trump would win, and he did, and it was a glorious victory for common sense. It wasn't actually... Yeah, there was a lot of coverage.
But do you think that would have affected the result of the UK
It's so hard because I think it's been such a disaster, an unmitigated 3 or 4 months of really bad news from Labour. So it's very hard now to imagine that Labour weren't in power. Where would the Tories be now? You're sort of doing a double game there.
I think Kevin makes a great point, because I think actually it would have benefited them greatly. Trump and Elon, my best mate ever, they're working on that sort of way. They're basically mocking the UK now with this like her Rwanda thing, which you talked about. They're sort of saying, "Oh, we're going to send them there if you didn't manage to do it." So no, I think they would have done better had they waited. The benefit of hindsight, however, is you've still got problems about small boats, which was the other issue. The economy is going to go up and down more than winter draws on, and you work on that sort of principle. So I think it's an interesting one. Getting them in there early. You hold the election tomorrow, I can guarantee Starmer would be out.
Well, try and get it into 40 seconds, please. We'll end. I'm sorry to rush this through.
Yes.
Looking at The Observer, it's only 30 seconds now, it's gone down. Patriotic fish and
this
chips.
is what they're saying. Fish and chips, you've got to do this. How should we celebrate the 80th VE Day?
Yes.
And what they're saying is fish and chips, and we should all be singing as well, working on I vow to thee, my country. That's what they're saying.
Beautiful.
But people are backing and saying we don't want that. We want it to be diverse and so on and so forth. And therefore, chicken tikka masala, which is our second national dish.
All right. What should we be singing? What should we be eating on the 80th VE Day? Let us know your opinion. We'll see you again.
Looking forward to it.
Not such a long time. Right now, here's the weather.